Today's lesson is on solving inequalities. Solving inequalities is very similar to solving one- and two-step equations. They are solved in the same way. The only difference is the inequality sign. So let's review the inequality symbols. The first one, we have less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, less than, greater than. And over here, we will be graphing our solutions in addition to solving the inequality. So when we have less than or equal to symbols or greater than or equal to symbols, we will use a solid circle on a number line. When we just have less than or greater than, we'll use an open circle. So those would look something like this. So a solid circle just means you're going to fill it in, which includes the answer, where the number is on the number line. An open circle would look just like this, and that, wherever the open circle is, does not include an answer. So let's look at some examples, and then you'll begin to understand how these work. There is one important rule that we must always keep in mind. Whenever we are dividing or multiplying by a negative coefficient, you need to reverse or flip the inequality sign. So for example, if we have a less than or equal to symbol in the original equation, the original inequality, and we divide or multiply by a negative number, we will reverse or flip the inequality sign. So let's take a look at some examples. The first one is just a one-step inequality. So just like a one-step equation, it will only take us one step to solve it. So you can see x, our variable, is here. Instead of an equal sign, we have an inequality sign, a greater than symbol. So let's subtract 6 on both sides. These two would equal 0, and we have x is greater than negative 10. So you can see our answer x can be greater than negative 10. That would include a variety of answers. So we need to include a number line that will also go along with our solution. On your number line, I always want you to show me where 0 lies, and then I want you to include that negative 10. And then I usually always go on the opposite side of the number line and include a positive 10 as well for this one. Doing it this way shows me you know where the negative numbers lie on a number line and where the positive numbers lie in relation to 0. Since it is a greater than symbol, remember, if we have a greater than or less than symbol, we will use an open circle at that negative 10. X, the answer, is greater than that number, so we would bold in this direction on our number line. Because we have an open circle here, negative 10 is not included in our answer. However, all numbers to the right of negative 10 would be included. This area is representing the value x, and you can see that it would go into infinity right on the number line. Let's take a look at another example. In this one, we have x subtract 15 is greater than negative 12, so we are going to add 15 on both sides of the equation. These two equal 0. X is greater than. Please make sure you do not change this to an equal sign. Negative 12 plus 15 is equal to 3. So once again, we do have to supply that graph as well. Always show me where 0 lies. Positive 3 is to the right of 0. Negative 3, of course, is to the left of 0. X is greater than 3. And again, we need an open circle at 3. And our answer lies somewhere to the right of 3. In the next one, we have some decimals here, and we are going to subtract 4 on both sides. These two cancel. 3.8 subtract 4 is negative 0.2, bringing the inequality sign straight down, greater than or equal to x. Okay, also we're going to supply a graph for this one. So again, show me where 0 is. That negative 2/10 is somewhere over here. And I'm just going to put a positive 2/10 over here just so we know where it is in relation to 0. I don't necessarily care about all the numbers in between 0 and this negative 2/10 or positive 2/10. It's just so that I know you know where the answer is on the number line. because it's greater than or equal to, this time we're going to use a solid circle at negative 2/10. X, our answer, is less than or equal to that value. Numbers that are less than negative 2/10 are going to lie to the left of this one. So because we have a solid circle here, negative 2/10 is considered part of our answer. Unlike over here, where it's an open circle, and 3 would not be included in our answer. Okay, so we did do a couple more examples in class. Let's move on to two-step inequalities. So with these, it's going to take us 2 steps to solve it. So I'm going to add 3 on both sides. These equal 0. We have 5x, bringing that inequality straight down. Negative 18 plus 3 is negative 15. We need to now divide both sides by 5. And I'm dividing by a positive number, so I'm not going to reverse this inequality. Negative 15 divided by a positive 5 is negative 3. When you're dividing by a positive number, you leave the inequality alone. Let's go ahead and graph it. Again, here's where 0 lies. Negative 3 is to the left of 0. We do need an open circle at negative 3, and x, our answer, is to the right of that because x is greater than that. If you want a positive 3 here, just for reference, that's fine as well. Moving on to the next 2 examples. In this one, I'm going to add 7 to both sides, bringing down negative 2x, less than or equal to 15 plus 7 is 22. Oh, we're going to divide by a negative number. When you divide or multiply by a negative number, we're going to reverse that inequality. So negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1x. Let's go ahead and reverse or flip the inequality. Instead of less than or equal to, it becomes greater than or equal to. 22 divided by negative 2 is negative 11. And then, of course, you would graph this as well. Here's negative 11, somewhere to the left of 0. It does need to be a solid circle since it's greater than or equal to. And because x is greater than or equal to, it would bold to the right. In the next example, we're going to subtract 28 on both sides of the inequality. 10 minus 28 is negative 18, less than negative 3b. Let's go ahead and divide by that negative 3. Negative 18 divided by negative 3 is 6. Since we did divide by a negative number, again, we need to reverse the inequality, and this is just b. So providing that graph that must accompany the solution, b is less than 6. So here's positive 6, an open circle. Since the value b is somewhere less than 6, it has to bold to the left. And finally, there's a couple more examples here, so let's go ahead and finish these up. This is negative 2/5 times m as in Mary is greater than or equal to negative 4. So in this one, check out our coefficient. It's actually a fraction. So if you recall, we talked about eliminating a fraction when it's the coefficient by multiplying by its reciprocal. The reciprocal of negative 2/5 is negative 5/2. So I'm going to multiply the left side by negative 5/2 and the right side. Now we are multiplying by a negative number, so we do need to reverse that inequality. So instead of greater than or equal to, it's going to become less than or equal to. On the left side, we're just going to end up with m. Over here on the right, we'd have positive 20 over 2, which is a positive 10. Then, of course, going ahead and graphing that, we need a solid circle at 10, since it's greater than or equal to, and m is less than that number, so it would bold to the left. In this example, we have a multi-step inequality, so we need to distribute that negative 3. That would be negative 3x plus 9, since this is a negative 3 times a negative 3, is less than 6. Subtracting 9 on both sides would give us negative 3x is less than negative 3. And then, of course, we need to divide by negative 3. So again, we're going to reverse the negative, or the inequality, because we're dividing by a negative, and it looks like we get 1. To graph that, show me where 0 lies and positive 1, and it looks like we need an open circle there. X is greater than 1, so it's going to bold to the right. Okay, that'll do it. You can see how similar solving inequalities is to solving equations. It has two main differences. The biggest one is being the inequality sign, and of course we do have to provide a graph. Keep in mind, whenever multiplying or dividing the coefficient by a negative number, you do need to reverse the inequality sign. Thank you.